Why can someone swear they are lactose intolerant, then eat pizza with cheese and feel fine, but one latte ruins the afternoon? Is this really a permanent dairy allergy, or is the body doing something more dose-dependent? Because the internet makes it sound like dairy is either safe or forbidden, and real life looks messier.
More dose-dependent than people think. Lactose is a two-sugar molecule. At the brush border of the small intestine, lactase cuts it into glucose and galactose, which can be absorbed. If lactase activity is low, some lactose keeps traveling instead of being absorbed there. That means symptoms are not caused by milk merely touching the stomach. They emerge when the uncut sugar load exceeds what that person can process at that moment. Once lactose reaches the colon, bacteria ferment it. That can produce hydrogen and other gases, plus draw water into the bowel. The familiar cluster is bloating, flatulence, cramps, urgency, or diarrhea. But the amount of gas and the amount of discomfort do not always match perfectly. One person may produce a lot of breath hydrogen and feel only noisy. Another may have visceral sensitivity and feel significant pain from a smaller fermentation event.
So the useful question is not, can I have dairy? It is, where is my threshold? What makes that threshold move? The number of grams of lactose, whether it is with a meal or the person's gut bacteria? And does the threshold change enough that someone could plan around it, instead of avoiding every trace of dairy forever?
All of those. A glass of milk on an empty stomach can deliver lactose quickly. The same lactose with a mixed meal may move more slowly, giving residual lactase in the intestine more time. That is why trials often standardize milk after meals or use controlled challenges. The meal does not chemically erase lactose. It changes the delivery curve. For many people, a slower curve is the difference between tolerable fermentation and a sudden colon rush. Product type matters too. Lactose-free milk has lactose pre-split. Yogurt and fermented products may be easier for some people because microbes and processing change the food matrix. Hard cheeses generally contain much less lactose than fluid milk. So a dairy plan can be selective, not all or nothing. Someone may fail a big glass of regular milk, but still tolerate a small serving of yogurt with breakfast or aged cheese in a meal.
What if someone cuts lactose and still has diarrhea, pain, or weight loss? At what point should they stop troubleshooting milk and treat this as a medical symptom, especially for kids or someone with bleeding? I worry that a plausible food explanation can become a delay tactic when the pattern is actually changing, severe, or not linked to dairy at all.
That is the key boundary. Also, self-diagnosis is messy. Breath hydrogen can identify lactose maldigestion, but people with similar gas curves can report different symptoms. Some have irritable bowel patterns or sensitivity to other fermentable carbohydrates, so lactose is only one possible trigger. A good test question is, do symptoms repeatedly appear after lactose, improve when lactose is reduced, and return with a deliberate challenge? If not, the story needs a wider lens.
A lot of products say the issue is not lactose, it is A1 beta-casein, and A2 milk is gentler. Does the evidence say A2 milk solves lactose intolerance, or is that a separate hypothesis? Because if the carton still contains lactose, I do not want viewers to confuse a protein comparison with an enzyme solution.
Separate hypothesis. In a small 2-week crossover study of confirmed lactose maldigesters, A2 milk led to less fecal urgency during the adaptation period and less bloating and flatulence after challenge than A1 A2 milk. But hydrogen breath results were not clearly different. That suggests comfort may change without fixing lactose digestion. It is interesting, but it is not a license to drink unlimited A2 milk if lactose is the dose-limiting problem. Another randomized crossover trial tested lactose-free conventional milk, A2 milk, and lactose-free A2 milk in adults who avoided fluid milk. Overall symptoms were minimal. Breath gases generally reflected lactose content, but symptoms did not map neatly onto every gas result. Practical translation: lactose-free is the direct lever. A2 is an optional comfort experiment. If someone wants the most mechanistically targeted first step, reducing lactose beats chasing a protein claim.
People also say you can train your gut by taking small amounts every day. Is there evidence for adaptation, or does repeated exposure just teach people which serving size they can tolerate? And if someone tries that, should they be thinking in teaspoons and half cups, not dramatic milk challenges that guarantee a bad evening?
Some adaptation may happen in the colon. Microbes can become better at handling recurring lactose, and people learn their personal dose. But the A1-A2 two-week study did not show adaptation that made A1-A2 milk match A2 milk for symptoms or lactose digestion. So train gently, not heroically. The goal is not to prove toughness. It is to find a repeatable serving pattern that gives nutrients and pleasure without predictable gastrointestinal payback. One caution: lactose hydrolyzed milk contains glucose and galactose because the lactose has been split. A 2025 crossover trial in adults with type 2 diabetes specifically studied post-meal glucose responses to lactose hydrolyzed milk. People managing diabetes should treat these products as real carbohydrate, not as metabolically invisible. Lactose-free means easier to digest. It does not mean sugar-free, calorie-free, or irrelevant to a glucose monitor.
If someone decides regular milk is not worth it, what should they look for in alternatives? Is it enough that oat, soy, or fermented plant drinks feel better? Or do calcium, protein, and fortification become the main checklist? I'm especially thinking about people who quietly remove dairy, then accidentally remove a reliable nutrient package too.
For infants, do not freelance. A systematic review of lactase drops for colic found mixed, inconclusive evidence with only one low risk of bias trial. Crying has many causes, and infants have narrow nutrition margins. Pediatric symptoms, poor growth, dehydration, or blood in stool deserve clinician guidance. This is different from an adult testing a smaller latte. Babies need feeding plans that protect growth, hydration, and diagnosis at the same time. The most useful plan is a personal lactose map. Test small servings, take dairy with meals, favor lactose-free milk or lower lactose dairy when needed, and replace nutrients if avoiding dairy. Judge success by fewer predictable symptoms without shrinking the diet more than necessary. Expectations should change if symptoms keep appearing without lactose, escalate, or come with red flags. Then the answer is not a stricter dairy ban. It is a better medical and nutrition assessment.